Hello and welcome to 3D Hero. My name is Razaki, and on this video we will talk about the user interface on two 3D modeling applications that I have on my mobile phone. And we will start with Spacedraw because it's the application that I first encountered in 2016. Actually, it was late 2014 when I first ventured into 3D modeling. So when you open Spacedraw, you will come across the black user interface and a few elements on your screen, lines crisscrossing from top to bottom and right to left on your screen. You'll also come across a menu that favors much of the edges of the screen. You'd find the top left and the top right of your screen. You'll actually find that I was a bit distracted there. The top left corner and the top edge of your screen, as well as the left edge of your screen, is where many menu items are. On the top right of your screen, you will find coordinates in brackets. That's 0, 0, and 0, right below the battery indicator. And also, you will find on the top left corner of your screen instructions. And right now it reads select a point, tap to start drawing, and basically that's it. That's what you find on the screen when you start. You also find the grid, which is the unique item that has been centered on the black blank viewport. I find this viewport really drab and boring compared to one in Blender. When you open Blender, you will find a camera and a cube and a light object. But here in Specter, there is a little bit of a difference. We'll make the comparison between Spacedraw and the other 3D modeling application I have on my phone, and also Blender much later. So you will find the grid in the middle of the viewport, and it's always in this kind of perspective view. And right in the middle of it, you will find a cursor. I believe you can see on the screen in the middle of the grid a cursor that has a blue, red, and yellow line. Those lines are indicators of the X, Y, and Z axis, and they call it tripod on Spacedraw. So with no further ado, let's start explaining the divisions that you find here, and we'll start on the left right here. So since the instructions clearly say select a point and start drawing, I'll explain to you the coordinates of the cursor before we move forward. I'll just tap the right hand side of the screen, right below the battery. You will see 0, 0, and 0. That indicates that our cursor, or tripod as they call it in Spacedraw, is at the middle section of your grid. But you can move it, actually use it to select several things, as I'll show you later. So let's start by explaining what's on the left as we move to the right, and it might be systematic or not, but let's move on. So on the left hand side of the screen, you will see this little small division, which they call the small tool area. That's what Spacedraw, that's what Gyroscope call it. And it basically moves your cursor along, it moves it horizontally along the horizontal axis. And as you can see on the top right corner, the coordinates in the middle change. You can see 3.47, and it moves 10.3 and all that to all the positions that I'll take it through. And the use of this is that it will model your object upwards. Once you select a point and tap to start drawing, that's what will happen. And now we'll move to the larger tool area. That's what they call it on Spacedraw. And when you move here, you realize that you can move your cursor or your pointer to whichever direction you'd like to. That's what exactly it is right here. And you can see two coordinates changing. That's the one on the right and the left, negative 11.36, and on the right you'll find 5.58. That's the coordinates of the pointer or the cursor or the tripod, as they call it here on Spacedraw. And yeah, that's how it is. And you would realize that if you hold down on this area, Gyroscope's startup tutorial will tell you that it will move it along one specific axis. I tried experimenting with that a few times, and it was a little bit confusing, and I just never realized, I could not confirm that that was really happening. But what I can see right here is that the coordinates, the horizontal coordinates, will remain locked. It's not really a difference, but that's it. So that's the tool area, the small tool area, and the larger tool area. So that's what happens. Now, I will explain the other areas because this affects your view before we start manipulating the work area. So we'll go to this area, this here. This is the, what do they call it? What do they call it? What do they call it? Let me see. Okay, I'll remember. Oh yeah, they call it, this is the pan strip. Let's start with this here. This is the pan area. The pan area basically has got a motion of, we're moving around our object, and that's how it is. So you'll see to see if it's an object that you're just passing by, like you will pass past buildings and you're in a car, how you see them moving, that's how you see it. That's just like a camera motion. And there is the pan strip, which does the opposite of what passing by is, which is going towards that object or away from that object. And you would see that it acts a little bit like a zoom. Some difference is that it's like you're walking towards it. It's like zooming in, and it only works with moving in and moving out, or zooming in or zooming out from that object. That's the pan strip. That's the pan area. That's the pan strip. And now this is the zoom strip. Okay, no, it's not a zoom strip. Just give me a moment. Let's go to the Gyroscope website and find out what they really have got for us as an explanation for studying it. So it has been very interesting working with Spacedraw because it is the first. I'll just type here Spacedraw startup tutorial. It's quick start, it's not startup, it's quick start tutorial. Yeah. And let's see what we've got here. So as I was saying, it's very interesting to work with Spacedraw because it just enabled me to encounter various things that were very, very interesting. I had various advantages with Spacedraw. So here we go. Gyroscope.com is the software's website which explains how you work with Spacedraw as. This is interesting. It says that cannot be reached. Let me check my internet connection. Okay, sorry. Okay. Yeah, we're back in business. There is this name they call it. Okay, so there is the small point area, like I explained earlier, and then there is the large point area. This is the zoom strip and orbit area and pan area. So let's get back to the application. I really had to rejig my memory back there because it's been a very long time since I last opened Spacedraw. So yeah, this is the orbit area. What the orbit area does is that when you rotate or when you move your finger right and left, whichever direction, up and down, is that you will be rotating around your object. And something that will be very interesting, and I'd like you to note right now before we move forward, is that this orbit area orbits around the pointer, the cursor, or the tripod as they call it. As you can see, I moved it a little bit further away from the grid, and so its area of focus is on the pointer, or the tripod as they call it on Spacedraw. And there is the zoom strip. The zoom strip does a little bit of a motion that's nearly similar to this, but it realizes the difference. The zoom strip zooms in. The pan strip basically walks towards or away, and realize that the grid is disappearing over the edge on the screen if I move or manipulate my viewport using pan strip. So, but when you zoom it in, it's a bit slower, and of course it's going to disappear at the top of the screen according to the way I'm viewing the grid right now. So this is the areas. We're just going to revise them a little bit before I talk to you about the more complicated areas of Spacedraw, the more intricate details of Spacedraw. So I'm just going to to move my cursor back to position in the grid. I'm sure I'm going to move it precisely to where it belongs, but I'll try. Okay, so we can zoom in. That's one thing that we should realize, that you can zoom in to your model. Sometimes it can be really confusing on a 3D modeling application. It's not like zooming in on a camera. So 2 fingers to pinch out zooms in. 2 fingers to pinch in, zoom out. And so that's it. There is something that you're realizing here, that my grid is disappearing and it's just moving in weird directions, and it's because of another motion that you can employ when you're working on Spacedraw. That is, you can move 2 fingers to have a motion like that, to move it right and left across the screen, up and down across the screen. It might look like a few motions that you've seen us having on here. And also notice that when you zoom in and zoom out, on the top right corner, right below the battery indicator, you realize that there is the number of times that you've zoomed. Right now we're on 0.42. So we've zoomed 0.42 into our object. So that's it for the view area. Before I forget, there is this little funky line on the top bottom corner, on the bottom left corner, bottom left corner of the viewport. And the line, you would realize, just to have a look at this area, this is the zoom area. So on the far end of the zoom area, you notice that on the corner right here, there is this nice line that you would find there. And this line has got the function of manipulating your phone's gyroscope. Before I explain to it a little bit, I just want to not make guesswork, but to go to scalysoft.com/quickstart.htm to look at what they call it. So you will find, okay, it's a bit interesting. They call it, it's a green line actually. So if your device says, slide into the screen from the left over the green line at the bottom left of the border a little way, then release the touch. Now tilt your device in various ways, and the view of it according to the motion, as if the scene will stand still somehow, and you will move the virtual camera with your devices. So it says that if your phone has no gyroscope, you will basically be operating on an accelerometer. Actually, the motion is just all the same. And sorry about the noise. It's just some people reporting to work, I think. So back to what the explanation was online. So I'll slide my finger right there, and the green line becomes brighter. And you realize right now that as I move my Android device in various funny directions, sorry about that, in various funny directions, you realize that the grid is moving, it's rotating, it's panning, it's orbiting. All that, it's not panning, it's just basically rotating according to how my gyroscope or accelerometer is functioning on the phone. Like, it's like playing a phone game, and many of us have come across the game applications where you would have to use the gyroscope. You bend right, you bend your phone right, or you tilt your phone right or left, and that is turning if you're driving, and that's how it works also on Scalysoft Specter. So I'll just deactivate my gyroscope or accelerometer by sliding my finger once again over the green line, and you realize right now I'm making funny motions, but it's the viewport remains still. So we're not going to waste so much time on this. I know you cannot see me rotating my phone in various particular funny motions, but that's how it is. I just wanted to prove to you that the gyroscope functions. functions. The gyroscope functions. As you can see, that's how it is. So, with no further ado, we're not going to waste more time on that. So we're going to start with the menu items. On the top left corner of Gyroscope's Spacedraw, you realize an asterisk is there, and on the asterisk there is a freehand, which is disengaged. Before we move to what's engaged and disengaged and what we find in our menu items, you see the asterisk, I'll tell you right now without showing the asterisk, but every function on your tool area that has been engaged is colored in a specific color. So when the asterisk right now has been engaged, and that's by default when you open Gyroscope's Spacedraw, you realize that it's bluish, I think, or yeah, blue, I think, colors. And let's demonstrate how different they look when you engage them. So if I disengage it, I will disengage the asterisk by touching another icon here. Let's try with arrow. The arrow is engaged, and you realize that the asterisk has turned white. Let's touch the spirally thingy there. It's become blue, and the arrow has become white as the asterisk. And we're going to touch the little web down there, and you realize that they change color. But the funny thing is that with them, they do not turn blue. They look like a rainbow color, and it's something that has a it indicates to us that we can color the object, we can color the face of an object, we can color several things there. And you realize that when we engage this function, we do not have our cursor, or our pointer, or our tripod as Gyroscope call it on Spacedraw. Let's disengage that by selecting D, and with D, you realize that a menu pops up. Actually, you cannot disengage this menu item without you have to, touch something else. I think you touch it again. We're going to find out how that happens. So you'd realize that there is the wireframe has been engaged, the shade, the texture also have been engaged. You'll find that there is an X-ray function, and the X-ray function works like Blender's wireframe when you press Z, the button Z, and you'd see the wiry characteristic of your model, if that's the right way to put it. And you'll also see there is backface culling, and backface culling is just how the object is exposed to you on your viewport. Then there is lighting, and then we have lights, we have default and thin, we have show lights. You can show lights or you cannot show lights as well. Yeah, so if you say show lights, you see there is that nice thingy that appears over your object depending on where you place it. So you can show lights or not, and you realize once again that what you selected turns blue. And you can have show normals. This does not function like normals in Blender. When you say show normals in Blender, you'd see this little lines sorry, this little lines standing, if I should say standing, on your perpendicularly actually on the surface of your object, and there will be as many as the faces that you've got in Blender. But when you show normals here, I do not know what happens. We're going to compare that later. And you can also show UVs. You can show texture corners, and you can go to home grid. You can deactivate it, as you can see. You can activate it once again, deactivate and activate. Yeah, basically that's how it functions on the D menu item. I do not know what the D means. Gyroscope should tell us. Well, let's see if Dave's guide. F is what they've talked about so much, and I think F means file. I think so. Yeah, I think it does mean file. So we're going to the V. We'll come across F later. We're going to the V menu. On the view menu, you'll see orthographic projection, which we can activate or deactivate. And the orthographic projection, it does not show your model in perspective. As you can see, we've got a little bit of perspective here. The far ends are smaller than the ends which are closer to us on the screen. when we disengage the orthographic projection. But when we re-engage it, it realizes that everything is equally projected to us, and nothing is smaller, whether it's closer to us or not. You can also change how your function works. If you're going to look at your objects by orbiting or looking around, sorry, when you look around it, it basically disappears. It basically centers your attention to the little plus that you've got here, and so that's when sorry, you're looking around. Just gotta have a little bit of water to make my voice better. Okay, so when you orbit, it then brings you this. You can use the tripod as your steering area. So we're using the tripod. You can use the center. So, well, the center is really moving nastily. You can also move by, you know, when you want to pun. Yeah, let's see. So when you pun, this is like we're walking around it. I mean, we're punning beside it, and we're walking around it. I don't know what the difference is. Let's see what the difference is. Well, it's all a matter of preferences, and basically it's a matter of preferences. There is angle snap default view. So the default view brings us right back to where we were when we started. We're going to, so let's go back to our V menu. Look at tripod, center tripod. Let's center our tripod. Okay. I'm just going to re-engage that so that we have our tripod there, and you can see the coordinates right beneath my battery indicator on the top left corner of my screen. I have gone back to 000, and just to show you once again how it happened, we're going to move it to all messy directions. The coordinates have changed, so we're going to the V menu again, and we say center tripod right there. We're back to where it was initially, and we can also hide objects and unhide objects. If right now we've got nothing hidden, we've got nothing functioning on our viewport, we've got no objects, so we cannot unhide all objects or hide all objects. But if you just Blender, you would realize I can hide objects by pressing H, if I've not forgotten. I've been a little bit rusty after my computer crashed. I'll have to rediscover these things again, but it's okay. So you can hide and hide things on Gyroscope Spacedraw. Let's go to the F menu. I think it's file. F, I think, means file. So with the F menu, you can select new scene, like I've done right there. It says, well, you could save this or no. I'll just say cancel. I'll say no, we're not going to save that. Go back to F menu. You have clear undos. By the way, in this software you can undo, and you could also undo your functions, your steps as early as 2014 when I first came across Spacedraw. You can open a file if you've got a file, and it will basically give you this menu that you can look at the files you've got here. Apparently I moved all my files to a different storage area. By default, my phone would save things by default to its internal storage, and I have to move them manually to my memory card by cutting and pasting. Anyway, let's go back to the F menu. Just going to say new scene. F menu. So there is you can merge, you can save or save as. You can export as OBJ. Something very interesting I found out you can do on this version of Gyroscope Spacedraw. Initially, you could not export as OBJ. Could you? Could you? Yeah, I think you could. I'm not sure. There is the manual. The manual, of course, will be a document. You can check it out using documents to go, Word or whatever document viewing application you've got on your phone. The manual explains in depth what you've got here, and I would really encourage you not to take my word as gospel truth, but to go through it and go through the manual and see how the software functions. There is also release notes, and I like something about this release notes. It tells us about the application and the things that have been upgraded insofar as the application is concerned. Once again, my internet is so slow. Let's just go back to Wi-Fi. Let's see if it's going to function much faster. Uh, bloody hell. Just gonna reload that. I'm gonna reload that. Okay. Just gonna go back to my mobile data provision. And there we go. Really hope this loads. I can tell you a little bit about the improvements there on Scullysoft as we move forward. As that carries on, I'm just going to start by telling you what Spacedraw have introduced. So Spacedraw are also looking to enable their application for stylus functions, and I really wish this goes through. Oh, don't know why the internet is quite slow today. Okay. Oh, but it's normal. Just gonna try and fix my Wi-Fi really fast then. Connect. Oh. Okay, apparently it's misbehaving. Okay. Just gonna reactivate my mobile data. We're gonna go back to Specter. If it does not work for us, I'll try and remember. Okay, so there are a few things that Spacedraw are introducing, I mean Gyroscope are introducing to Spacedraw, and one of them that I can remember is that they're going in future, don't know when, but soon in future, in a few months, they're going to introduce the stylus feature, and you can hide the UI. Ooh, don't like that. So when you hide the UI, everything disappears. You can view your model from there. So imagine let's go back to the V, and where's the home grid? Home grid. Okay, it's the D menu. So you deactivate the home grid, and you also go to the V, to the F, and you hide your UI. You can view your model without any interference, visual interference for that matter. So let's go back and reactivate our home grid. So that's basically, and you can also exit. Yeah, that's how you close the application professionally. You don't tap back and close the application. Although when you tap back, it's going to tell you press again if you want to exit the application. So that's it, and you will see that on the asterisk you can have a line which has been activated. You can have spline, arc, helix, rectangle, pentagon, circle, sphere. Everything is right there. And if you want to model something, you can see your instructions. Okay, that window's closed. The instructions on scullysoft.com/quickstart.htm, and that's basically it. I'm just gonna end this video here by showing you something that I modeled. I was following directions from that will not open. Okay, so actually the file that's required. So I'll just leave you with a very nice goodbye by selecting New Scene and going back to our viewport. Sorry about the noise, it's just started outside. I think people are just reporting. So we will look at the advantages and disadvantages, the pros and cons of both Gyroscope in a few videos in future after we're done looking at subdiv format, which I discovered recently. I think it's 2 months now. No, it's not 2 months. I think it's nearly 1 month now since I discovered subdiv format or SDF3D. So after we're done looking at SDF3D, we'll have a comparison of both Specter and SDF3D, and both of these applications are really good for 3D modeling and animation, but they're not the only ones that you will find in Google Play Store. I just settled on them because I got acquainted with them and I liked them better. And also, there are a few other applications you can come across, but the ratings of Gyroscope, Specter, and SDF3D are high in terms of 3D modeling application standards. Now, I'm talking about right here is let's just go ahead and have a look at a few things that, to avoid boring you. Don't know why it auto-rotated. We're just going to have a little bit look at a few of the models that I've got here. Okay, going to take a long time. Okay, actually I modeled this on SDF 3D. Yeah. So, as I was saying, by 3D modeling applications standard on the Android platform, they're high ratings for Spacedraw. Spacedraw has got 3.9 rating, and SDF 3D has got 3.8, which are quite high. I've not seen any application with higher ratings than that, and it's actually the first ones that will appear. Spacedraw and Gyroscope are actually among the first applications that will appear when you type 3D modeling applications or whatever keyword you will use to find 3D modeling applications on the Android platform on your Google Play Store. So I'm not going to drag this video a little longer. I'll just leave you with a very nice and warm goodbye and a preview of the models that I have here as we prepare to end this video. So if you like this tutorial, actually it's not a tutorial, I'm not a pro. So if you like this video, please subscribe and also like and share, and I'll be very glad to receive your support. And your comments are also very, very much welcome. And in future, we will continue. Sorry about that. That's just my gallery is really personal. Sorry about that. So yeah, in future I will be very glad to share more information with you. So I'll not drag this a little longer. Remember, my name is Razaki and this is 3D Hero. Let's keep modeling in whichever application you've got or software you've got using on your computer. It's really fantastic. That's all about being a hero. You resort to something that will be very helpful. So once again, thank you. Like, subscribe and share.